Hi everybody, Mr. Pash here. Just wanted to give you guys a quick overview on your Surrealism research and presentation for this week. Let's see here. So most of the information is on the first Google Slide homepage here. Looking right here, this will be your turn-in link. There will also be a page on the back side of this that shows the link again, so hopefully you guys don't miss it. This assignment will be due Sunday, May 10th. I was thinking about giving you guys a little bit extra time, but most people procrastinate anyways and wait till the last day. If you guys do need some extra time, remember, again, I'm not marking down for late work. You guys just want to try to manage your time as best as possible, because we will be starting something new starting Monday next week. Let's see, moving forward here, let's see, agenda items. I'd really recommend that you guys try not to do this all in one day. It will probably be a lot, and if you do it in one day, you'll probably be missing some information, or the information will be really minimal. So what we're going to do is, just like the design movement research and presentation, do the same thing. I was really impressed with a lot of those slides, and I got a really nice turn-in rate on those, and it seems like most of you guys are really comfortable doing that assignment, so I decided to do that again. The photo P composition or compositing type assignments, I've been about 50% turn-in rate there, so I'm not quite sure what the issue is there, but for this week I decided to go to something that we've been successful at. So hopefully that helps. So I'm going to create a Google Slides presentation, art movement on Surrealism. Surrealism isn't a design movement, doesn't really pertain to graphic design per se, but our class is a computer graphics class dealing with Photoshop, and you will see in a lot of the examples the concept of surrealism is heavily prevalent in a lot of Photoshop type works, whether it be art, photography, or even advertisement. You'll see a lot of the concepts pop up there. So it's worthwhile digging deeper into the art movement of surrealism, and it's really interesting too, and I think you guys will appreciate it. So second bullet point here, review the organizing slides and information page, which we'll go over. I'm going to leave this up to you on this third bullet point here about looking up your own references and resources. There's some good specific ones out there, and I thought about just giving you guys like a specific video to watch, but I'm going to leave this up to you and what you can find. I feel that, given kind of a larger type project assignment, I think it's worthwhile to leave you guys on your own to see what you guys can find. You guys will, going in the higher education college, you guys will have to do that on your own. So it's definitely a skill to, figure out where the best research is, compare and contrast your research with other sources to make sure you have the correct information. And yeah, I think it will be suitable for this assignment. One thing I would suggest though is you guys don't have to find specific websites. Here I put in bold here, YouTube videos will be good, and there's a lot out there. Hopefully you guys will be able to find them. Some are a little bit shorter, some are a little bit longer. If you find a good video that's like an hour long, you might be able to get all your information in that video. And I think there's a BBC documentary on Salvador Dali, who we're going to discuss or look at, and and a couple on just surrealism in general. All right, so the last part of this, aside from the actual research part and kind of giving away information, as we'll see, I want you guys to find your own references for themes and concepts, and that starts right here. Okay, so here's the organization slide information, and here, as you can see in red, starts the concepts. Okay, so before I get into that, let's just look at these two slides here. This is just some background information. This will maybe help give you guys a starting point and actually give you guys some answers to some of the prompts that I gave you guys here, and you guys can find maybe a little bit more in-depth information. Okay, so Surrealism was a literary and artistic movement, not just art. Okay, began in the early 1920s. Maybe you guys can figure out kind of when that ended. This was following the devastating effects of World War I and the psychoanalytical theory of Sigmund Freud. So that's a good jumping off point. You know, why those two, that one event and that one person, how were those connected to surrealism? Maybe if you can find just a little bit of information on that, that'd be awesome. As a visual movement, artists found a method to expose psychological truth, stripping objects of their normal significance to create a compelling image that was beyond ordinary, revealing the unconscious thoughts of the mind. Very formal explanation there. But as you can see, in a lot of the surrealist works, we really have the aspect of realism here. And this was at the time of when people kind of were experimenting with abstraction too. As you can see in, you know, the design movements, this took place in the 1920s. Things were getting abstract and simplified and modern. This art movement had a lot of painters that painted realistically, but what they were presenting was seemingly realistic, but conceptually it wasn't. So it kind of elicited the aspects of dreams and the unconscious mind. Things where it kind of blurred the boundaries of what was real and what was not. And so we can kind of think, you know, Sigmund Freud in that aspect. You know, he tried to delve into the subconscious mind to bring out the truth. And so that's kind of what they're presenting on their canvases here as art. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of background to kind of start from. Here's the organizing and slides and information page. Sorry for the stutters. Lots of information here, so I try to organize it as much as possible. So I tried to condense it down as much as I can. So 8 slides, and I have them listed by slide. So over here, slide number 1, just a title, maybe a picture that you want to use, and your name, something like, you know, I did here. Okay, maybe a little bit less. Slide 2, background on surrealism. You know, if you want to make your slides a little bit more simplistic, maybe you add a couple slides. So generally, what was surrealism? How did it start? What time period? What major world event? What person? We already told you that. Maybe put in a little bit of supportive information in that and why those are connected to surrealism. Slide number 3, or maybe extra. I'm talking about Salvador Dali himself. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps doing that. So just a little background on his life, maybe how he grew up as a kid. I don't really care what you know, the exact date he was born, you know, but just give me a little bit of supportive information about Salvador Dali. Personal characteristics. You'll see maybe in some of the videos you watch, is a really kooky character. He's actually really fun. He actually was kind of like the first art, what would I say, like celebrity per se. And just any other interesting points that jump out to you for that slide. Slide number 4, maybe more. Salvador Dali's artwork itself. So kind of really specifically look at Salvador Dali's work. What were some main themes that he showed through his work? One of them is called the paranoid critical method. Now you can add that or not depending on what you find, but try to figure out what that is. And then just try to describe, critique, or write about what you think about his work. Maybe specifically pointing to your favorite examples that you find, or in examples that you don't really like. Okay, so not all artists you really like, so you can write about why you don't like him. Okay, now I put this in bold here. Okay, so this is kind of a different segment. This is kind of your research and background. All right, and the next 3 slides here are your visual concepts, and there's a little bit more. I can condense it down to the main ones here. Okay, so this is the double image, an object that takes the shape or form of another to create an optical illusion. And I gave you some information here. This is the idea of Dali's paranoid critical method. Now what I want you guys to do on my slides here, on my presentation, I'm giving you a description of what this is, a definition, as well as some examples, and I think they're pretty much to the point here. I think you guys can figure out. What I would like you to do for your slides is find your own example, like I did here. Put as the title above that, like double image, put the picture, and then just a little explanation of why it's a double image. Why does your photo meet the criteria of that concept? So I just want to make sure. I know it's kind of like sometimes it's really obvious, but I just want you guys to write in your own words why that is. I just don't want you guys to title it and put a picture and be like, here you go, you figure it out. Okay, so for my example here, I put, in this image we see that the fingers of a hand can simultaneously serve as the roots of a tree. So we see here the fingers blends right into the tree, and the fingers look like the roots. It's kind of like double image. Okay, in this picture here, we have a picture of flowers and also a picture of a face. The lips, the butterflies, the nose, the leaf as the eye. And so I want you guys to explain that. Some people might not see it right away. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Another concept here, mutations. Okay, so anything that's, mutating into something else, 2 different forms blended together. Mostly you're going to get human or animal shapes or forms connected to that. As you can see, the head's turning into butterflies, the shoes into toes, and something's growing out of the eyes here. Next one, illusion of physical space. Not actual space like galaxy space. I'm talking about space, the space we live in. Okay, how does that bend? A lot of times you'll see examples of objects coming in to something, disappearing, and then reappearing. Or the whole physical space is bent in and distorted, and we kind of get this concept here over here, just in a different perspective. Distortion of scale. For this example, things that are of a typical size. Sorry, it's my daughter. Typical size compared to others are vastly distorted. So obviously, this guy's head. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps doing that. This guy's head should be a lot smaller comparatively to the body. And of course, this guy's got a bunch of small people around him. And here's another example here. So what I would do is, on this slide, put distortion of scale up towards the top, add my reference, and then down on the bottom describe how that meets that criteria. Displacement, this is kind of a fish out of water. type scenario. Things or objects that should be in one place are really in another. It's a nice artistic version. Here's a nice Photoshop version. And last one here, juxtaposition. So you guys had some practice with this already if you did the first compositing assignment. Sorry. So really juxtaposition is placing two objects together of contrasting effects. Now in our previous assignment we kind of blended two concepts together. That kind of matched up. Some were like kind of a social issue. Others could have been really random, and the forms matched up. For surrealism, not really so. It's just random objects sometimes. So it kind of elicits the ideas of dreams again too. That sometimes we dream about random stuff and random objects together. Not really there to make sense. It's kind of, yeah, just kind of generalities there of just kind of the mind wherever it goes. This one makes sense a lot, and I really like this one. So juxtaposing like the socket here, the three prong in the back of the head, and then we got the pillow here with the socket, but it doesn't have that grounding cable, so she can't plug in, having a hard time sleep, which is a really cool aspect there visually. So hopefully that makes sense. Here's the last slide here. Surrealism turn-in link. I had a lot of questions last time. Where do I turn it in? So hopefully that's a little bit more specific for you guys. And I'll always keep it on the home page here, as well as if you haven't turned in the design movement as one yet, that's still there. So I'll try to keep everything right there. So you can click that link. You'll see that will pop up here, and it's just like that page before. You list your name. Once you're done with your surrealism slides, you can copy and paste there. And feel free, as people start turning stuff in, look at others. Maybe it'll help you with some information and see how others have done it. Please feel free to add content, okay, not just text. So create and design your own backgrounds if you guys can, or find a theme or download a theme that will reflect really well, and maybe chop it up, move things around to help, you know, make it flow with your design a little bit better. Add photos, add GIFs, add videos too, but make sure your videos are really short for presentation. Obviously in a presentation you don't want to submit an hour-long video. No one's going to sit there and watch it for an hour. So yeah, I hope that is pretty to the point there, and if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, I hope you guys find it interesting. And if you guys are having trouble finding resources, I will kind of lead you guys to the right direction and give you guys some hints if you guys need to. Okay, well, hope you guys are doing good. Again, if you guys have any troubles, please reach out to me. I'm always here to help. All right, take care.